while still on the topic, obviously, of Universal, we're gonna pivot to Epic Universe. Epic Universe. So Universal, this was a few weeks back, or maybe even like a month or so. There was some talk, and they left out. I think it was the CEO of Comcast. He left out the mention of Fantastic Beasts as part of that overall makeup of Epic Universe. And Dre, I don't know, did he mention? I think he mentioned like Illumination, right? If I'm not mistaken.
He sure did. He mentioned Illuminations, which is the first time that studio had been mentioned in talks for Epic Universe. Everything that we had known prior to that suggested that Illuminations wasn't originally going to be a part of the initial slate, and now it might be. Very interesting.
It's very, very interesting, and I think there's a couple of things here. There's a couple, like those circus acts where they juggle, like they kind of spin the plates. There's a couple different plates here that we're dealing with. I think number one is the first plate is, I think, the J.K. Rowling factor. She hasn't been the most popular person on social media lately, and I think that's part of it for sure. The next plate would be Johnny Depp, which is also another issue.
Yeah.
And another plate would be just the overall lack of interest in this franchise of Fantastic Beasts. While the Harry Potter, that Wizarding World is extremely popular, the Fantastic Beasts movies really haven't caught fire. So I think it's kind of like a perfect storm of all these elements, and Universal's looking at it and saying, you know what, maybe it would be better with a Minions Sing, Pets Land instead of the drama that would come along with the Fantastic Beasts. But Dre, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts? I mean, do you think that's kind of what's playing into factor here, or?
Well, it's quite interesting because I look, when you've detailed the topics that we were gonna be talking about, and you mentioned Fantastic Beasts specifically, I did a little dig, and I've reached out my source and saying, hey, what are you hearing? And I guess there was some arguments between, should we go with the American Ministry of Magic, or should we go with the UK Ministry of Magic? Kind of this Fantastic Beasts versus the traditional Wizarding World that we all kind of know about. And it looks like, from what I can find, they're going with the traditional, kind of the UK or the British Ministry of Magic, with the kind of the traditional Wizarding World as we kind of know from the initial slate of movies. It's interesting because I can go through all of Epic Universe if you want me to. But what's fascinating is there was a concept for a VR kind of broomstick attraction. Actually, I have a slide of it to kind of show what that's all about. And if that was supposed to be part of the Epic Universe land, the kind of Ministry of Magic land that was going to be in there, I'm hearing that the latest rumors indicate that might actually be plucked out and placed in Universal Studios Florida, where their Fear Factor Live show building is.
Okay.
And like I said, if you want to go through Epic Universe, you want to go through all that, I do have a slide kind of detailing this and where that is. Yeah,
Let's do it. Is that okay? Is that what you added to the stream?
So it is. Yeah, it's right here.
This one?
That's it.
All
so
right.
This attraction's very, very interesting in that it's a VR type attraction, and it's actually kind of everything's the most likely or the most similar attraction that we know of in the world right now is this kind of Twilight midnight run ride. It's over there in Asia. I couldn't find these specific park. They get like a billion parks over there. I do apologize, guys, but over there, you get on kind of a motorbike, and you go on this kind of VR attraction, and it's kind of you kind of have a room full of motorbikes. You get on them, and they have like a motion base. It's kind of like think of it like a mechanical bull, and you go through it. what Universal wants to do is adapt that kind of technology and do it for the brooms. And you can see bottom left, they've already filed the patents on this kind of technology. What's really interesting about this is not only will you kind of be holding on to a broom underneath you, but it will, they want to kind of incorporate hand tracking into it, which creates the possibility for like spells and stuff. Or what if it's like a Quidditch match where you catch the kind of the ball there? Sorry, I don't know all the terminology. I do apologize, guys. but
shame on you.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wait, that's weird. That's weird. Okay, all right. I gotta get my terminology, I guess.
Sorry for the name calling.
So, but no, I mean that's kind of what they want to do here. But instead of it being an Epic Universe, it would be the largest scale VR ride, but it would be placed in Fear Factor. The Fear Factor building adjacent to Diagon Alley. That's kind of where the rumors are indicating right now. I heard this from two separate sources. Give it up the theme park stop, by the way, Alicia Stella. They do a great job. But I heard it from another source that this is where they want to do what they want to do in the interim of Epic Universe actually coming online.
And that's why Illuminations eventually got brought into the conversation, because if it does happen, then where they would put the Harry Potter, that's where the Illuminations would go. Possibly.
But I'm hearing that a Wizarding World presence is still on the table. Wow. Remember, there's 2 expansion sites that weren't initially going to be utilized, which they can kind of grow out in the park master plan as they've kind of envisioned. But for the Ministry of Magic back at Epic Universe, I'm hearing, this is the first time I've ever heard something like this, and I checked my source, and I was like, are you right about this? Yes, he is right about this. Or at least, as accurate as the information is right now. The e-ticket that would replace this VR attraction in Epic Universe would be like a scissors lift attraction from Confrontation, almost. So Confrontation opened up with the park, with the resort, with Universal Studios Florida back in 1990. It closed, it was very temperamental when it existed. They had some power issues, technical issues, obviously. But part of that attraction was you were suspended, and there was kind of a scissors lift operation. You can see below what I'm talking about. Just take that, reverse it, hang it up from the ceiling. That's kind of what was going on there. And it sounds insane because the scale of something like that was massive. And so you set that in the Harry Potter universe, that could be very, very interesting.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's wild. That is absolutely wild. Rudio, what are your thoughts on this?
Like how you guys said earlier, I'm going to latch on to the J.K. Rowling situation. I mean, just from the standpoint of me following the news with the video game that's supposed to be coming out for the PlayStation 5, a lot of the developers or people who are with the developing company kind of want to step away from her. They don't feel that she reflects the right, we'll say, vibes that the company wants to align with. And so you bring that whole controversy into the mix. I mean, I love everything that Vash is showing here, but to me, I think you have your established Harry Potter in the Universal parks already. So you already have dedicated land to that. It'd be interesting to see what Illumination brings, because as crazy as this sounds, Minions still brings in a lot of traffic. The Despicable Me ride, every time I see a vlogger cover it, I guess I don't know, George, you've probably seen it more than I have. Is it in the front of the park or like near the entrance?
It's more in the front of the park. As soon as when you enter through, you walk down the street and it's literally right on the left. It's like one of the first attractions you bump into.
Okay, because that's always the first thing that's being featured, and there's always a line. And I've been on the Universal Hollywood version of that ride, and it is not great. Mind you, I'm a 33-year-old male with no kids. I don't see anything enticing about that other than the fact that you smell bananas in the beginning of the ride.
Yeah,
But
I agree with you, Rudy. It's nothing to write home about.
Yeah,
It's
nothing to
kind of
write
like
home.
whatever.
Yeah, but as a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old who's really into Minions, I'd go crazy because it's a fun ride for them. And there's a little dance party. And then I got to ride Secret Life of Pets recently, and that is a great experience. Even I'm going to show my age again. I'm 33 years old, don't have any children, but yet I still had fun on that ride. It is a dark ride. It is a dark ride to Imagineering on Universal's end to their peak. They really did a great job with that ride. So if they can go ahead and say, we're going to build more on that, go right ahead. I really want to see what they would do with those characters and that world building for Illumination versus Wizarding World.
Yeah, and you know what, Rudio? The Universal was actually brilliant in building that Pets ride here in LA, because you're in LA as well. We're both LA guys. And man, I mean, you can't go 10 feet without seeing a dog in a stroller. We love our pets.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a knock on the city life and how pets are portrayed, but it's such a fun experience because you are literally being pretty much presented as you're a dog, and you're getting to see the life through their eyes, and you get a nice doggy wash, and you're getting adopted. So it's a cool experience just to see that. But imagine what they could do with their other properties that Illumination has. Mind you, Minions and Secret Life of Pets are pretty much their big money getters,
Right.
but I like to see more of their properties get some attention and get more presence in the parks.
Yeah, absolutely. George, what are your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts? I mean, what are your feeling on this?
I actually agree with Radio on this. I feel that Universal already sort of kind of has it in the back of their minds. They can't fail with Harry Potter. It's such a success as is. And I think that they are one that kind of likes to separate themselves from Disney by not repeating themselves. So I think that, yes, they will still definitely have an expansion of Harry Potter, but I think thinking in the brains of Universal that they're not going to be worried about it. You know, it'll be a success. You know, I'm for sure everything that Vash had shown us, it looks really cool. I can't wait for it. But as Rudio said, I'm more curious of what they're going to do with Illuminations, because I've watched YouTube videos of Secret Life of Pets and the queuing of that, even before you get on the ride. I mean, I'd just go in there just to walk around the queue, because it sort of kind of reminds me of how the new queue was for Peter Pan's Flight, where you enter in the Darlinghouse and you have the lifelike animated beds and Nana's doghouse, and then it transports you onto the ride. And I also think that's how it's going to be with Ratatouille. So it transports you in the moment where you see through the lens of the characters, and I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that.
It does exactly what George is explaining. The most, to me, the West Coast version of this is Roger Rabbit, Toonspin. How deep that line queue goes, and how animated and how in depth that queue goes. I would say that's what I would compare it to, from my eyes. But you got to see the Peter Pan ride, and I've seen videos of that, and that is comparable as well. Absolutely.
And especially with Sing 2 coming out. I mean, Sing actually caught me by surprise, because, I mean, we took our son to go see it in theaters, and I thought, okay, it's a cute little movie. I actually enjoyed that movie. I mean, call me crazy. I actually enjoyed it. So I'm actually curious to see how successful Sing 2 is and what they possibly could incorporate into that. Because, I mean, we have to face it, as Rudio pointed out, Disney has the Main Street Bakery, and Universal has the sense of bananas. You know, so it's like you got to pick and choose. So I think Universal is starting to kind of adopt what Disney had done for many, many decades with these dark rides, and I think Universal needs that, because if they want to draw in younger kids and families, they need something to withhold a full day for young kids, because back in 2014, we were going to take Josh to Universal. He was only 4 at the time. And actually, it was a Universal worker that said, to be honest with you, to spend the money on a ticket, he really can't do too much except for Seuss Landing. That was it at the time. So we bypassed Universal. So I think they're trying to adopt a little bit of what Disney has and kind of have something for all ages.
Yeah.
It's well known in the industry. It's been well known for a while that Universal they don't have those franchises that appeal to the little ones, and so allowing them to make experiences for them. They've wanted to get past that for a while now, and Illumination has been just a godsend in that because a lot of their franchises are beloved by kids all over the world. It's interesting because there is a Sing attraction. I think it's in Universal Osaka. There is a Sing attraction out there. I don't know what it is, but but it exists. So I agree with you guys. I would love to see what additionally they do. I haven't heard anything for Epic Universe specifically, but man, I wouldn't. It's definitely a possibility, as the CEO says. Interestingly, in Universal Studios Florida, the Shrek 4D attraction, there's been a lot of rumors kind of associated with that, and it looks like if Secret Life of Pets is going to come out, it might actually end up being there. That's kind of the rumor I'm hearing.